Solidarity forever. The birth of the industrial workers of the world. It was the year 1905, a time when the American labor movement was in its infancy, characterized by fragmented unions and worker exploitation. In the midst of this tumultuous period, a group of radical labor activists gathered in Chicago to launch a revolutionary organization that would change the course of workers' rights and set a new standard for labor unions. This marked the birth of the Industrial Workers of the World (IWW), a movement that would be a beacon of hope for countless laborers across the United States and beyond. The early 20th century was a time of rapid industrialization, with workers facing harsh conditions, long hours, low pay, and little to no job security. Traditional craft unions were the norm, but they often excluded unskilled laborers and people of color, leaving many workers without representation. In the face of these challenges, labor leaders, socialists, and anarchists came together to form the IWW, an inclusive labor union aimed at uniting all workers regardless of their skill level, race, or gender. The organization's motto, "An injury to one is an injury to all," encapsulated their commitment to solidarity. Among the prominent figures involved in the founding of the IWW were Eugene V. Debs, a socialist leader, and Big Bill Haywood, a labor organizer. They were joined by many others who believed in the power of collective action. The IWW's principles were radical for their time. They advocated for the abolition of the wage system and the establishment of a society where workers would collectively own and control the means of production. Their ultimate goal was to create a world in which laborers would no longer be exploited by the capitalist class. One of the IWW's most iconic tools was the Little Red Songbook, a collection of labor songs that inspired and mobilized its members. Songs like "Solidarity Forever" and "There is Power in a Union" became anthems of the labor movement, sung by workers on picket lines and during strikes. The IWW was known for its direct action tactics, including strikes and boycotts. They organized some of the most significant labor strikes in U.S. history, such as the 1912 Lawrence Textile Strike and the 1913 Patterson Silk Strike. These strikes were marked by the resilience and determination of workers, often facing brutal opposition from both employers and the government. The organization's commitment to free speech was also noteworthy. IWW members engaged in free speech fights, defying city ordinances that restricted their right to hold public meetings. They would often fill jails to capacity to defend their right to organize. Despite its relatively small size, the IWW's impact was substantial. It played a crucial role in advocating for better working conditions, fair wages, and workers' rights. The IWW's influence extended beyond the United States, with international branches in countries like Canada and Australia. The IWW faced intense opposition from powerful business interests and government forces. Many of its leaders were arrested and persecuted. In 1917, the United States entered World War I, and anti-radical sentiments surged. The government under the Espionage Act, targeted the IWW and accused its leaders of obstructing the draft and opposing the war effort. This led to the imprisonment of key figures within the organization. The IWW's influence began to decline in the post-war years as the Red Scare and anti-union sentiments swept the nation. But the legacy of the IWW lived on in subsequent labor movements and the fight for workers' rights. Today, the IWW remains an active organization, continuing to advocate for labor rights and social justice. Its founding principles of inclusivity, direct action, and solidarity continue to inspire workers and activists around the world. The industrial workers of the world, born out of the struggles of the early 20th century, remains a symbol of hope and resilience in the ongoing fight for workers' rights and social equality.